What happens when the picture-perfect image of a family shatters in an instant? This is the story of JonBenét Ramsey, whose tragic fate continues to haunt the American psyche, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. It was Christmas 1996, a time of joy and celebration for the Ramsey family in Boulder, Colorado. 6-year-old JonBenét, a bright-eyed child beauty queen, had just unwrapped her presents, her future seemingly as dazzling as the holiday lights. But the festive cheer vanished overnight. In the pre-dawn hours of December 26th, the idyllic scene transformed into one of unimaginable horror. Patsy Ramsey, JonBenét's mother, discovered a bizarre and rambling 2.5-page ransom note on the back staircase of their sprawling home. It demanded the oddly specific sum of $118,000 for the safe return of her daughter, who was nowhere to be found. The perfect Christmas was not just over, it had been stolen. The initial response to the crisis was fraught with confusion and critical errors. Patsy's frantic 911 call launched an investigation, but the crucial first hours were mishandled. Police arrived at the Ramsey home, yet the crime scene was never properly secured. Instead of a sterile environment for forensic examination, the house filled with friends, family, and even a victim's advocate, all moving freely through the property, potentially contaminating vital evidence. For nearly 8 agonizing hours, everyone believed they were dealing with a kidnapping. The search took a devastating turn when John Ramsey, JonBenét's father, was instructed by a detective to search the house one more time. He headed to the basement where he made a gruesome discovery. His daughter's body was lying in a little used wine cellar, wrapped in her favorite white blanket with duct tape over her mouth. The kidnapping scenario had dissolved into a murder investigation inside the family's own home. The evidence collected from the scene only deepened the mystery, painting a conflicting and unsettling picture. Investigators noted a broken basement window, suggesting a possible point of entry for an intruder. However, there were no footprints in the snow outside, and an undisturbed spiderweb was found on the window's exterior. The autopsy later revealed the horrific details of JonBenét's death. The cause was determined to be asphyxiation by strangulation, but she had also suffered a severe 8-inch skull fracture. A garrote, fashioned from a piece of cord and the broken handle of a paintbrush from Patsy's art supplies, was found tightened around her neck. Most crucially, a small amount of unidentified male DNA was discovered on her underwear and long johns. This single piece of evidence became the cornerstone for the theory of an unknown attacker, a ghost-like figure who had slipped into the house and committed a monstrous crime. From this tangled web of clues, 2 primary and opposing theories emerged, polarizing public opinion and law enforcement for years to come. The first was the intruder theory, fueled by the unknown DNA. This narrative paints a picture of a shadowy predator who broke into the home, killed the child, and staged the scene to look like a kidnapping gone wrong. The elaborate ransom note was seen as a deliberate act of misdirection. In stark contrast was the family theory, which placed suspicion squarely on John and Patsy Ramsey. Investigators were troubled by the ransom note itself, written on a notepad from inside the house with a pen belonging to the family. The note's length and personal details seemed unusual for a typical kidnapper. The parents' seemingly calm demeanor in some media interviews also drew public scrutiny, leading many to believe they were somehow involved, either directly or in a cover-up of a tragic accident. Decades later, the case remains agonizingly cold, a fixture in the annals of American true crime. In 1999, a grand jury voted to indict the parents on charges of child abuse resulting in death, but the district attorney at the time, Alex Hunter, refused to sign the indictment, citing insufficient evidence to secure a conviction. The case took another bizarre turn in 2006 when a man named John Mark Carr falsely confessed to the murder, only to be cleared by DNA evidence. JonBenét's parents were officially cleared by the Boulder District Attorney's Office in 2008, based on the DNA evidence. But public suspicion has never fully faded. To this day, the identity of the person whose DNA was on her clothing remains unknown. The haunting image of a smiling little girl in a pageant gown endures, a symbol of a life cut short and a mystery that for now has no end. The question of who killed JonBenét Ramsey remains one of America's most chilling and fiercely debated unsolved crimes.